Right, and joining us is our guest for this leg of the broadcast. Joining us is Nilaya Varma, co-founder and CEO of Primus Partners. Welcome to this broadcast. If I can start by asking you for your general overview or your individual take on the budget, what would you say?
Thanks, Ramesh. I think for
Welcome.
me, I'll start by saying the biggest headline for this budget is the lack of one single headline. I think the budget actually addresses a much wider range, and to
Right.
me, that's a very, very plus. I want to pick up 3 points
Hmm.
specific, Ramesh. Number one is jobs. I think we've the jobs at two end at one level by giving financial incentives and tax breaks for AI data centers, and India is looking at 10 to 14 gigawatts of additional capacity in the next few years. We're actually making India critical for the world when it comes to the digital infrastructure for the world. Second is when you're talking about jobs, the entire approach on a services mission, which includes caregivers, the entire care economy, the tourism sectors, that's really a jobs for a large number of youth, which today require and across tier two and tier three cities. And finally, the third point, something which I'm very excited about listening to the comments, is the entire concept of economic regions. Because worldwide growth, we all know urban infrastructure or urban cities drive growth. But today we need to build infrastructure and support not just the main center, but tier two and tier three cities around large cities so that we can have more innovation. We can provide better infrastructure across not just one city, but across region. So overall, I'm very excited by what we've seen in the budget because this is about our future, not just today or tomorrow.
Can we also have an industry perspective from you on the twin issues of manufacturing and competitiveness in terms of, especially in light of the so-called Trump tariff effects and the number of FTAs that India signed in the recent past?
Look, I think we've shown tremendous resilience as an economy, despite so much of pressure and everybody thinking that because of the tariff, our exports will come down and
Right.
therefore GDP will get impacted. It hasn't.
Hmm.
But I think at the root of competitiveness, and the finance minister has spoken about it, there are again three broad elements, right? One is the innovation ecosystem. And innovation ecosystem starts at school. We've addressed that in this budget. Second is really about educational institutions around manufacturing clusters. That again, through universities, we've addressed that. And finally, looking at MSME champions, something that as an organization we've spoken and written extensively about. Today's innovation in IP does not happen in large organization, it happens in smaller organization. And by putting focus in there and a significant amount of money, I think we're addressing that. And all of this, when you look at how the capital expenditure on infrastructure has grown, is all about improving reducing our logistics cost and driving competitiveness
Since you
across.
referred to the MSME champions, I have to ask you this. Does the budget document, in your estimation, give you satisfaction insofar as the MSME sector is concerned?
It does. I
Why do you
think
say that?
I I think there will be finer prints, but my understanding of what the intent is, I think we're looking at how China has gone about driving its small and medium enterprises.
Right.
And the way they've gone about is identifying what they call little giants and focusing a select number of them, helping them grow, not just by only providing money or incentives, but helping them bring in foreign technical expertise, exposing them to international markets. And if you look at the entirety, when the finance minister said that we will have corporate mitras, it's all about providing the opportunities for small and medium enterprises to be globally competitive.
Now, the budget has been variously described as driven by youth power and one that paints a picture of macroeconomic stability. Do you share that view, especially in light of the impetus given to the orange economy?
Absolutely. Look, India has had macroeconomic stability now for more than a couple of years, and the government has been steadfast in making sure that fiscal stability is there. We've also had 6.5, 7% rate of growth. Now, to go into double digit, where this budget invests in what we're always calling is the creative economy or the orange economy, which is where the jobs are, which is where the IPs are going to get created. And again, we would say the orange economy has got a green light today in the budget today.
Mhm. And looking at the other recurrent or recurring themes in the budget document per se, if I were to ask you about the capital expenditure, about the social sector or the services sector in terms of healthcare, education, and so on, are you happy with the reasoning or the trajectory insofar as the priorities are concerned?
Yeah, personally speaking, I'm never a big fan of budget being only limited to tax proposals.
Hmm.
It budget provides a direction, and I think this budget clearly provides the direction. It has said and put money for high tech manufacturing, reviving or strengthening our traditional manufacturing sector, but also investing in the jobs of the future. So, uh, absolutely, I think it does a wonderful job in that respect.
A quick word from you about the other critical sectors such as nuclear energy, rare earths, and AI and semiconductors. Are you sanguine about the direction that the minister has outlined in her speech?
Absolutely. And
Hmm.
this will take some time,
Hmm.
but obviously we've taken the step. We have a quantum mission. We have a AI summit happening just in a few weeks. And somebody who's been associated with it, I think there are major announcements coming that way. And really, look, we've always said this, the tomorrow's economy is about who owns IP. And IPs are going to be driven by technology and investing across technology spectrum, not just the infrastructure, but the capability and the capacity. All of those things have been touched about. I would say it would be important to have a very strong implementation system wherein not obviously individual ministries have to drive implementation, but we really need to have a budget implementation office at the level of the Prime Minister's office or the Ministry of Finance, which makes sure some of these allocations and intent are translated into actions, policies, and programs in quick time.
Okay, so as we wrap it up, if I were to ask you, in your estimation, is the reform express picking up speed and momentum?
Absolutely. I think,
Hmm.
reform is something she started by. She referred to the fact that there have been a GOM and various committees which have recommended reform across the board. Very often, small things do not get reflected in conversation like this. But let me just give you one example. The fact that for small and medium enterprises, you can get lower TDS without having the hassles of applying for it means 8, 9% improvement as far as cash collection is concerned. So yes, the reform is at the core of it, but not just reforms from a policy perspective, but allocation to sectors and initiatives which will support reform is what I get excited about when I see the fine print.
All right, on that note, Nilay Varma, co founder and CEO of Primus Partners, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your perspectives with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.